to offer weight loss management because of my own experience, and I hoped that maybe 3 people would come. So I could say I'm almost a little overwhelmed, but it's my intention to be able to offer some insights to the mindset behind achieving anything in your life, be it weight loss or whatever, to present some ahas, different things. When I was growing up, I was a fitness fanatic. I loved sports. And so in high school, I was in every sport I was. Back in that day, you could be in every sport that existed because this only had one day. When I went to college, of course, it only made sense that I would major in health, recreation, and physical education with a minor in dance. My intention was to become a sports coach, but you know how after you graduate, life sends you in a different direction. 20 years later, I end up in central Wisconsin with my husband and a little boatload of kids, and I definitely was not the image of fitness. I spent the better part of those years trying to figure out how can I lose a few pounds. And I tried everything, and it amazed me how much a topic can just influence everything in your life, because I never felt good enough, never felt like I could do it, never felt like anybody wanted to see me or wanted to be around. So it created such an internal game within me. And I remember in the summer of 2013, I was going in my garden to get some vegetables to see what I could eat that wouldn't make me gain more weight. And as I was opening the gate, I thought, you know, I must not be ready to lose weight. It was just such the words might not make sense to you, but it really caught my attention and made me just stop. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to let it go and just wait. And nothing changed in my outer actions, but inside, I just started to accept what is. You know, I am not going to give up my whole life to not being good enough, to not being pretty. You know, I have gained and lost weight all through my years, and my kids never noticed when I lost weight. They didn't care. Even my husband never said a thing. And I realized the only one that's carrying this burden is me. And I thought, I am just losing my whole life. So I think you're in the right place. If you want to lose a few pounds, or 5 or 10 or 50 pounds, or if you feel that the whole journey is confusing, not clear, it feels hopeless, helpless, or you feel like you're beating yourself up. So that was exactly what was happening to me. So where do we begin? And the first thing is to align within, and that is to find the question, why do I want to lose weight? And you know, it sounds so simple and so obvious, yet it's really the engine of the whole process. Because if you define your why are some of the reasons people want to lose weight? You know, the big one is people want to look better.
Class reunion coming up.
Yes.
Have more energy.
Yes, have more energy, vitality. What else? What other reasons people want to lose weight?
I want to set a good example for my son, who's also overweight.
Okay.
So we're going to work together.
Okay. Oh, wonderful. And that's such a big element, is support. People that have heart health problems or diabetes, you know, simply probably want to live longer. So but in that why, you look underneath that, and many times there's just a bigger story going on. And as I mentioned, for me, you know, underneath the why was, I'm not happy with the way things are. And as I began to reflect on that question, it's like I started to see what was going on in my own soul, the feelings of inadequacy and not good enough. And I think that these subliminal thoughts, feelings, and beliefs just outpicture in our lives in any which way. It could be people that struggle with gambling, always wanting more fun things in their life because they're not satisfied within, or people looking for a relationship to complete them. It's all so frequently motivated by, I'm not good enough the way I am, so I need to fix that. I need to find something that makes me happy. So when we talk about those beliefs, let me tell you a little bit my story. I told you I had that garden moment. Then in the beginning of 2014, I don't know why, I just had this harebrained idea that I made a bucket list, and it had one item in it, and I don't even make bucket lists, but I decided I wanted to run a 5K, if I could. I didn't know if I could, but I wanted to try. I was willing to try it. I have varicose veins. I hadn't run in years and years and years. I couldn't even jump in one place because, it was just so intimidating. But at 12th Street, we would walk in the basement. 'Cause in January, it's quite cold. So we'd walk in the basement, and I'd go down there when no one else was around, and I'd walk, and then I would jog 10 steps. And then I'd walk another lap, and then I'd jog 10 steps. And every time I walked, I would add a couple more running steps. And after about 6 weeks, I remember one Friday, I ran the whole 15 minutes. Now, I probably ran slower than a toddler walks, but I ran, and it was such a feeling of victory. Then before I knew it, I come from Chicago. My family, one of my nieces got a brain tumor. And so there was a 5K that my family was all going to come together and then run for Maddie Mae, my niece. I thought, oh, look at that. A 5K turned up too. Because I really believe that the universe, when you put a step forward in any which way, the universe supports you. So if I was looking for a 5K, one showed up. So now I had something to work towards. Well, come about mid-March, I realized I was starting to lose a few pounds. And I thought, isn't that interesting? I mean, some people might think that's a duh, but I had already knocked that off my radar. So then I started contemplating, what changes can I make to assist this process? And the cookies I always ate after lunch, I thought, there must be a better way than this when I was doing MyFitnessPal and realizing how many calories and carbs were in those cookies. But the point I really want to make is I found my own way through it. What are we talk about understanding the way you're wired. What are some of the most popular diets out there or food programs that exist? Weight Watchers, Atkins, Nutrisystem, Jenny Craig, and then South Beach Diet, and Paleo, Mediterranean. Those are not so much diets as eating plans, but nevertheless, if you make 2 columns on the rigid ones and the flexible ones, I would say like Weight Watchers, a little bit flexible. Jenny Craig, I think, is a little bit more rigid. And if you're a freedom-loving person, a rigid diet is never going to work for you. But, it worked for all these people, so I've got to make it work for me. But so understanding a little bit about the way you're wired, just knowing yourself, is so helpful, and being willing to experiment. It's the same with exercise. I'm a very intense athlete, and the cardio can't be hard enough for me to be happy. But there's a lot of people that don't like sweating. And so what movement to find that's aligned with who you are? So what I'm pointing out is ways to explore who you are and contemplate a plan that begins to work with you. So it's when we align within ourselves, then we can begin to, as we start to connect with the depth of what's going on within us, then what's happening outside starts to change. And it's exactly what I saw in my own life, that when I let go of focusing on wasn't working, my diet wasn't working, my life wasn't working, my focus was so intense there that once I let that go and just gave it up and decided to live life, life started to change. Because life, what's going on around us, always reflects what's going on within us. You got struggle within, you'll have struggle without. I was talking with Adam this morning, and Adam's testimony is very inspiring, and I might come to that point. But you can have 10 things in your life, and if 9 things aren't working out, finances, relationship, whatever, but you got one thing that is working, if you focus on that one thing that's working, these things start to change. So when we talk about the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and what's a belief? A belief is a thought you keep thinking over and over and over. So the thoughts that we have that don't serve us, one of my biggest ones is, it's too hard, and I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. That was like my mantra, my inner mantra. I can't do it. What are the kinds of thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that generally people have about weight loss? It's just not possible. Other people can do it, but I can't.
It's too long.
Yes, good one. What?
Bad genetics.
I was just going to, yes, bad genetics. I have big bones. I've often, when I first started working, I aspired to look like, and when I started working here, I was heavier. I lost 17 pounds that year that I did that running. I aspired to look like Brenda DeWitt. And it took me a while to realize that I would just simply look emaciated if I make her my standard. Works for her, but it wouldn't work for me. So it's really about accepting whatever's going to uncover when we go that way. But these thoughts, I can't do it, bad genetics, big bones, whatever, I use this chart a lot in anything that I aspire to achieve. Because one of the things about life is we're always trying to better ourselves. We're always trying to expand. And to expand and better ourselves, we got to start exploring new territory, new adventures, trying new things. Frankly, even my desire, I know a lot about mindset, but public speaking is not necessarily my forte. So I'm making lists and lists. What are all the serves that the beliefs not serving me? I can't do it. I'm too disorganized, da, 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 da. And what are the beliefs serving me? What are beliefs that do serve us? Well, obviously right now we're all here. So that window of looking for answers in a better way, other people can lose weight. So I should be able to lose weight. What are some other beliefs that a person might have that would support them in their inner game? And these are hard to uncover.
I enjoy whatever activity. I enjoy walking. I enjoy maybe going to Y. Everybody has something that they enjoy doing that might be somewhat exercise focused.
Yes, very good. Yes.
I'm not going to quit trying.
Yes. Now, that's, if a person can come to that point where they're willing to try and see what happens. Weight loss or any change is not just an all or nothing adventure. It's not like, some people do this, but for most of us, it's not like Monday I'm going to start. So this weekend, I'm just going to eat everything I can because Monday, I start the keto diet, there's no more carbs, there's no more happiness, and I can only eat salad and meat. I mean, and that will last until maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they're gone again. It's, when you think about going to college, a child of yours going to college, or maybe you went to college, or you know somebody that went to college. A young person goes through high school and they aspire to go to college, let's say. And they want to get a major that can earn them good money, that they like to do and that will earn them good money. Does any student go to college knowing how much those 4 years, those 5 years are going to change them? It is besides the fact that they're growing up, what they learn about themselves and about the world, it's transformative. They come out the other end very different people. And anything that we seek to achieve in our lives, weight loss or other, is a journey. Some journeys are longer, some are shorter. But whether a person embarks to just lose 2 pounds, and if you've ever wanted to lose 2 pounds because you're just 2 pounds away from your ideal weight, it is not always easier than losing 50. But when you can align with that idea, with that goal, with ease, with fun, with no attachment to, well, you know, I'm going to make this my goal, but I'm still going to live life. And any journey has to be fun. It has to be fun. I have this, I wrote, food and movement plan is not just a garment you put on. It's an energetic experience, a process, an adventure you embark on that you think will improve your life. So, to frame it as a journey, as a path that allows you the freedom to learn as you go. And to know that this diet or that way of eating may not be your way. You can tweak things, you can take things, you can try them. You know, eggs or no eggs. You know, eggs are bad for you, eggs are good for you. Fruit is good for you, fruit is bad for you. Everybody has their own personal opinion of these things, but you have to find out what works for you. And granted, sometimes what one needs in the weight loss might be different than the maintenance or whatever, but even those terms can be so technical that it just feels too hard. So these beliefs that one has, I'm not going to give up, I'm going to find a way, I'm going to get the support I need, I'm going to work with people that will support me, that will cheer me on. By amping up these beliefs, focusing here, it helps us not let us not get off the starting gate because of the ones that sabotage us. So this morning I asked Adam if he would tell me, I don't know if you know Adam's story, but I'm going to let him tell it. It's really very inspiring to me, and he told me, and I was very inspired. So I asked if he would be willing to share his testimony with you. So I'm going to let Adam talk.
Yeah, so Jean asked me to kind of share my weight loss story.
Adam, do you want this?
No, I think it should be fine. I'm not a big fan of talking about it too much. I mean, it certainly is a huge part of my life. It's something that why I'm kind of in this field nowadays, as a matter of fact. But I guess I'll just kind of, let's get right to it here. So about 4 years ago or so, I ran into a bunch of health problems. These range in all sorts of things. I had about 3 surgeries and over 120 doctor visits in a year. During that time, my physical activity was extremely restricted. I couldn't do the things like sports and all of that, which I love to do. I gained a bunch of weight during that time. I was bedridden pretty much the whole time on pain medication. It was really no fun. My friends were off at college. They talked about changing during college, and I was kind of changing with the worse during that time. But I gained a bunch of weight. I was sad. and depressed a little bit, and it was a pretty dark area for me during that time. But oddly enough, about December 31st, that was when the doctor said that I was all good to go. I could finally start walking and doing all that sort of stuff again. And with New Year's Eve, actually, I was sitting there all by myself on New Year's Eve, and I kind of had this inner talk with me. It sounds so silly nowadays when I think back to it, but I kind of had a conversation with myself, just a candid conversation of why I was at where I was. And I kind of asked the question to myself of why can't I be that guy who loses a bunch of weight and changes his life around? I honestly asked myself, what's stopping me from doing that? And I came to the conclusion that there was nothing stopping me. It was myself just kind of, I was being down in the dumps all the time. I'm focusing on those negative beliefs that so much talked about. I never really looked at myself as being capable of it. So it seems so obvious now, but at the time it was a very profound impact on myself. It really kind of hit home. So the very next day, I started to slowly make changes. I started walking. I started researching what I should eat, what I shouldn't eat. I started tracking my food, exercised a little bit more, and so on and so forth. For the first week, I lost about 2 pounds. And I was like, well, 2 pounds off a whale isn't a whole lot. But, it was motivating, to say the least. So I kept doing that, and I lost another 2 pounds. I lost another 2 pounds, and I got to the 10-pound mark in about a month. And I didn't really notice a whole lot of difference as far as clothes fitting and all of that. But I did take progress photos before and after. So I took out my first photo, compared to my next one. I was like, holy cow, there's a small difference there, but it's a difference to say the least. Now you see yourself every day in the mirror. I had no idea that I was even changing at all. I mean, I felt like I was the exact same I was about a month ago. But that was encouraging, so I kind of kept on that path. I kept learning more and more. I lost 2 pounds here, lost 2 pounds there. Over the course of 7 months, I lost about 70 pounds. And the progress picture showed huge differences then. I was telling Jean earlier that it spiraled. The more I saw the weight loss falling off, those beliefs became larger. I was more capable. It was motivating to have people tell me that I was helping them out. I had to buy all new clothes, so that was a little bit of a downside, a bit expensive. But as far as, it was just a very cool experience. And over the next few months, I lost another 30 pounds and lost about 100 pounds total in about a year, and that was a big change. But what Jean kind of talked about is, what was interesting to me is that when that one area of my life, it improved. My whole life improved. It was, talk about the 7 dimensions of wellness and how they're all tied in. It was never more obvious to me then. I became more confident. My grades improved. I became more outgoing. I became more responsible. Just everything improved for me. And it was just amazing how that one area of life can kind of snowball into those larger changes. And that's kind of actually what made me change years in college and kind of get into wellness in the first place. And talk about how with college you kind of find yourself. Once again, that was very much the case for me, where I had no idea that I'd be in this field. I thought I was going to be in business or who knows where. But here I am today now doing this, and I'm very grateful for it. But it can be done. It is something that's certainly not easy. Looking back on that, that was by far one of the hardest things I had to do in my life. But you have those mindsets where it's worth it, and it was. And whoever says it's easy is wrong. It never is going to be easy. It's never going to get easier. And you just become stronger kind of along the way, able to deal with that.
Well, but you say it wasn't easy. And I guess I'm not understanding that because something kept you in it, and look at you now, still maintaining. So I think there's a better word than it wasn't easy. You had to keep rising up to the challenge, and you obviously became, I don't want to say a better person, I'm not saying you weren't a good, but somehow that internal change.
Sure.
So I just wanted to address that words, because I think rising up to who we really want to be is challenging our beliefs, but a little different than it being hard, because it, but then hard makes us better. So anyway, that was perfect. Thank you.
Okay, well,
Yes.
thank you very much.
Yeah. So I'm really inspired by that, because in his testimony is everything. You know, the inner dialogue has to change, and the journey changes us. And so whatever it is that one has to embark on, it's a bigger picture than just losing the weight. You're going to be a different person at the end, and it's the willingness to see what's underneath, to accept this is who I am. Okay, now how do I begin? Because that self-acceptance is a first step. So, does anyone have any questions or any thoughts or anything they want to bring up?
Well, what if, you know, you find out what your why is, you work towards your goal. What if something, I don't know how to say this,
Throws you off?
pushes you to the extreme,
Mm-hmm.
and you just are so micro-focused? How do you keep yourself from getting just micro-focused?
Mm-hmm. And that's a very good point. Sometimes I call my journey to losing 17 pounds that year the law of distraction, because I started off the year wanting to achieve the goal of running a 5K. I had no other agenda. I just wanted to see if this body still worked. And while I was focused on something else, the weight started to go away. And that finding a focal point in something fun, something creative, something that pulls you forward joyfully, because in the beginning, the weight loss journey doesn't feel fun. Or, you know, in the beginning it might, but then, you know, like Adam says, reality sets in. But it is never a woman giving birth never regrets the outcome of that process. You know, they have this baby. So what you birth through this path of weight loss is better and more enjoyable than before. So to bring on your adventure with you, start a hobby, whether it is physical, like hiking, or sports, skiing, whether it's physical or art or anything, but find something that gets your creative juices going, because it will fuel, it will keep you from getting micro-focused on that. Does that answer your question?
Kind of. I was kind of thinking more like, okay, so you set your goal, you're losing the weight, now your focus is, I'm just going to keep going just to see just how much I can lose, even if you've gotten to a healthy weight, so that you don't go past that and just push yourself to the extreme. I mean, is there a way to keep your self-talk? I want to stay balanced. I
Okay.
want, you know, something.
Yes, because we have a client like that. And you know, to tell you the truth, my deeper process is I really believe that whatever one believes in regarding the universe or spirit or whatever practice helps one find center within themselves, one will live in a different place than the ego. The ego has its own agenda, but when you find that deeper place within, whatever spiritual practice you enjoy, it becomes a guiding principle that keeps one in a better place. And if it doesn't, then there are other problems that need addressing. So if anyone would like to continue this discussion on a weekly or monthly basis, see Adam, and we could maybe start a small group and work around this. It wouldn't be a big thing like this. It would just be very small. So if anyone has an interest or some thoughts on that, talk to Adam. So that's basically, I wanted to pass these out. This is the story of Evie McDonald. She was a woman who was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, and the doctors told her she had 6 months to live. And she says, I feel like a bowl of Jell-O in a wheelchair. And she was angry and she was upset and she just hated herself and hated life. And she said, and she was also very overweight, but one time she decided, I cannot go out of my life with this much hate towards life and towards myself. And she actually would teach positive thinking. So she decided that she was going to roll her wheelchair in front of the mirror and look in it every day and find some part of herself to love. So 3 times a day she would do this. And as she did this, her inner thoughts started to change. She said strength began to flow to her limbs, and it put her life in a whole different direction. 6 months later, she was still alive, and 35 years later, she is alive and walking and a fully functioning human being. So I'll let you read this because it's an excellent testimony to the power of the mind, aligning with the mind with the goodness of ourselves. So thank you very much.